Hey there, I am JB and welcome at Orange County Kingdom. For today, you might have seen it on the thumbnail already, but we are going to work on a different project. I've actually decided to do that because I think it would be a nice change to switch off from building a piece of wall to something else to keep things a little more interesting. But before we're going to do something else, I got a couple of comments and it might be handy if I just wave. Anyways, JT is saying, looking great so far, JB, keep up the good work. I have the issue a lot when flattening out an area before I place a blueprint, so I have made it a habit to lower the blueprint in the editor a half a step, and it seems to work for me. Maybe you could try that the next time. I'm going to keep that in mind to do that. I had to do that with the wall way beforehand when I started the first part. It's a little bit more difficult to do that right now, since the wall and the new piece of wall will have some height difference if I do so. Sophia saying the gate looks awesome. I agree, we need more option for bigger doors. Love all the good tips for building. Thank you a lot, Sophie, and I hope they will add some bigger doors too. And then Salix is saying, so are you and Person X are going to actually invading each other's space at some point? I'm going to need to give that some thoughts though. It does sound like a fun little idea to do that at the end of the whole season. I do, however, have a little other plan which we can do in No Man's Land, which is between in. Yeah, but like I've been saying, the last episode or the episode before that, it's going to take a little while before we start doing something fun in the middle. I'm not sure how the thumbnail is going to look like and what I'm going to call the title of this video, but yes, it has something to do with the cold or potions or anything like that, because I have noticed, and you might too, that once I'm up there for the castle, that it is freezing cold. Now, of course, I got a couple of options what I can do with this. One, just pack in everything and move to the tropical area, which is going to be a little bit too much of a work. And the second thing I can do is actually take a look at the armor. Now, I don't have alien armor, and there are a couple of other top tier armors that I do not have. Another thing that I can do is actually take a look at potions. Why shouldn't I craft myself a ton of potions, so this message I'm cold or even I'm freezing is not going to show up. Now, as you can see, I got a shoe in my 0 slot. I actually seen this. When I click on details, it says it helps against the freezing cold. So, you know, another option could also be, let's just put this thing on and see how it goes. But this doesn't mean that it's not going to freeze anymore, because freezing was also one of the problems that I had up here. And of course, if you go higher and higher, it becomes more of a problem. Now, the thing is, I don't want to have my castle flatten out. I want to have my castle big and proud. Now, this is going to be a little bit of a thing to figure out, you know, when is it freezing cold? Maybe this outfit just absolutely helps already, and then I need to decide to do something else. And so, I'm going to sit here and see when it's going to freeze with this outfit on. Okay, it is freezing. So in this case, let's see. Let's put this on. I'm not cold anymore. Well, there goes my idea for the episode. So I'm just going to increase the height of the castle tower. And right down here it says I'm freezing. It's cold. So for now, right down here it is cold. Yeah, it's no problem, I'm gonna guess, alright? But I'm not going to get that out of my way right now. I still want to have a potion farm. You know, there are a lot more other things which potions can be used for in other environment, because at some point I'm going to need to take a little break. Not a break of a couple of months, but I just mean, you know, head out, do some stuff, get some resources, maybe do some storyline and whatnot. And then in that case, I could use a couple of potions. So, for today, we are going to build a farm and a potion house. So, if we need some stuff, we can just build that stuff. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do here is analyze the area. So, it is here where the whole show kind of stops. There might be, you know, like a small little pathway going up. For whatever reasons, you know, maybe like a secret little cave that goes to the dungeon of the castle. But for most of the part, it is going to be very cliffy and steepy. But right down here, a very pretty area where we can work with. Now I'm going to keep in mind there will be a village right down here. So this down here might be a very nice area for a steep farm. Which I'm also going to keep in mind to build like a little sniper tower down here. And I think the best thing to do for right now is start cleaning up the area down here. Alright, and the area that I / want to use is most empty. Now the only reason why it's not completely empty is because I want to give you guys a very good tip. And the tip here is going to be never ever remove rocks unless you are very sure that you're going to need to remove those rocks. The thing here is, it is way more easier to remove one rock rather than adding a whole new rock, because you're going to need to go to the editors, you're going to need to blueprint a rock formation, you're going to need to put it in the game, and then hope that the rock is, you know, perfectly on the ground rather than floating above the ground or being too much into the ground. It is a lot of trouble to get rocks back. In this case, I'm going to remove everything because I want to have a clean farm field. And or this will also count, in this case for this map, do not ever remove blooming magic bushes unless you are very sure that you're not going to need it. Now I've been thinking, since I want to make like a potion farm and a potion building, why not keep this guy? Because I think it would look very nice environmental wise, or somehow some way to use this bush with my building or even inside of the building. Now this ground here is not very flat, it is very, you know, hilly, and before I'm going to mess around with that, I want to be sure also that I can mess around with the ground without destroying the plant, because, you know, if it will destroy the plant, it's a waste. Because I believe you can still not grow these bushes, so it's going to be very handy to be very careful with that. I'm just going to take a shovel here and I'm just going to dig the ground and see what it does. So it just lowers itself. It doesn't mind, you know, me doing some stuff. Digging the ground flat and raking the ground, which, yeah, okay, so okay, this might be a very logic thing for this bush to do, and that is getting into the ground like that. Now I also left down some tree stumps because I just have to say it, you know, tree stumps, it has been a nightmare and for everyone, but right now it just feels so satisfying that you can just remove it within a couple of seconds, and I just want to say it, and I'll probably say it in a couple of weeks too, and the weeks after that, because it has been incredibly horrible to remove tree stumps, and I'm just very, very, very thankful that we now have a faster option of doing so. Alright, before all hell breaks loose again, I quickly want to show you what I have and what we are going to do with it. So first thing that I am going to do actually is at least smoothen out the ground just a little bit. I'm not going to decide this yet what the end result will be, because it's all going to depend on the house, what I'm going to build. And the idea here is the village will be down here. It will be a nice big village. And if I have to choose where to place the house, then I think it would be nice if you come out the village, have like a little pathway that goes around this hilly thing, just like this, around, and a pathway will end up going that way, so it can split up in two directions. One can go up the hill for whatever reason, and one will go down towards the guard tower and or a couple of positions along the edge. Down here then will of course, you know, be the farm field, and in here will be the house. I think it's for the best to have the house a little bit digged into the hill. And the second thing of all, I had to think about JD's comment saying, you know, be careful with digging stuff out because it can float. So I had in mind, what if we tried to keep that in mind actually? Try to find a block here. about this guy. So what I mean by that is just figure out like a nice grid height. Let's say for an example this, it is perfectly on grid, it's a little bit off the floor. The only intense, incredibly difficult thing that is going to be right now is trying to aim it out. Now I don't mind if the block is just a little bit into the ground, but I don't want to have it for the half into the ground or, you know, floating, which is obvious. So this is going to need to be super duper intensely, very carefully. Which I am a little bit afraid to be too close to the plant though. So I'm just going to say right down there, just a little bit off from the plant. And then, I'm just gonna try to see if this would be a good height. Now, you know that it's okay. I mean, a floor is very thick always, so it goes a little bit into the ground. It is fine by me. So what I'm going to do now is very careful go around this plant. All right, very careful. And just to be sure, I'm going to mark off slash is the area of this thing. I'm going to kind of aim out the middle of the plant with the middle of the stone. And you know what, let's just lower it like... And basically the stone slash is going to be the outline. Maybe, maybe not. Just have to see what I can do. Yes. Okay, I want to dig out a small more piece. Now, if you see this and you're like, can I get closer? Just be super duper careful, because sometimes... I think I had it. It just depends on a certain angle or movement in order, yeah, like that, to get back to that point. And I hopefully can do this. I don't mind it here sticking out for too much. There are all kinds of little tricks I can do in order to hide it a little bit. Make double walls and whatnot. I think double walls on this side would be very nice actually. Now, if things go completely out of hand, it's okay. I don't mind it to put it onto a floor. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's you know, even though I wanna shoot myself in the face with a shotgun, it is all okay. Are going to be fine. Now I do wonder in the editor if you could make a plant like that. I'm thinking of it. Alright, I have made my choice. It is not too big, not too small. I like to have it a little bit cozy, so I don't want to have like a giant building for this. And in this case, I have been using extra thick blocks. So these are 2x2x2. And I made sure that at least one part is into the ground and one part out of the ground. So once you place your building down, you won't see like a tiny little gap between what sometimes happens with certain builds. And I want to change the way of avoiding that, or you know, doing things different, better to say. So in this case, I decide let's do double walls. One into the ground, one out the ground. So I know for sure you don't get like this silly little gap between the ground and the original building. I've also decided, well, it needs to happen here too. So we're going to make a double wall in here, which these ones will indicate. And then this one will be a single wall, which, you know, I can easily add in some windows. And down here, double wall. So I figured that all out, that it would be very nice like this. Now, I'm not really sure just yet, kind of slash is what I want to do with this, because I'm going to need to first make a little bit of a pathway along with smoothing things out. In this case, I have been blueprinting a sample of the area of the potion shop and placed it down, and I did notice when I wanted to make the blueprint, it was actually warning me that there is something that would not be blueprinted. In this case, it is clear that it is the plant. Now, I've also been saying I will smoothen out the area. It's not going to happen because it's going to take me several freaking months, and I'm not going to do that. However, I'm still going to do the idea that I had in mind, but honestly, it's not going to happen for this episode though, because it will also take a bit of work. I might just do a little bit, maybe. Just have to see what's going to happen. I'm recording this all for today though, and it's almost 2 o'clock. Anyways, this job. I have been flattening out the ground from this point around the corner until this point. That's why this is going to go up. I needed to do that in the end. Also because the weather made it me difficult to see what I was exactly doing. But I think it's fine for just this piece to have it a little bit straight. I can always mess around just a little bit to see how I can make it more fitting to say. Now also in this case, the wall that's going to be here is going to be too wide. One to, have the wall, and the second one is to actually hide the gap between the ground and the stone, which is something that I'm going to do for my idea too. In this case, this is the going around the corner part, and anything else you kind of know already. So I would like to keep it simple, not too simple, but just nice enough. We're going to, of course, make use of some wood. I'm not going to be worried about what is going to glitch out right down here, because it is not visible anyways. There will be, well, first of all, a double wall, and secondly, it's on the back into around. Maybe it would be nice if we're going to, make a little stairways that goes down, which I don't need that many blocks for that. Yeah, that's okay. That's actually perfect. Now it would of course be ideal if I could use these blocks in here, and I just have to see like how is it kind of facing. Yeah, that's okay. Now the only thing that I didn't think of actually is how I would like to end this up though. I mean, it is going to go uphill from this point, and what I might just simply do, I think I'm just gonna add in 2, simply like that. I don't care for anything else being as it is, and of course add it back into this group, and then continue those blocks, which I'm looking at it right now. Is I'm going to need to move it forwards. Yeah, this is something to be very careful with. This actually made me think maybe I should be, moving the wall up a bit, including the whole show, I wanted to say, but then I might have a problem with this guy. And I'm just gonna take something randomly here and just place it to memorize that needs to be the wall. And I think anything else just beside this little piece down here, like that, it should be fine. How I would like to have it. This is a bit odd. I'm not really sure what's going on down there. Oh yeah, I see what's going on. So I'm just going to remove these 2. Then I'm going to leave that on. I'm going to turn this guy off. And just like that. I think that will be fine. Okay, anything else is good? Yes, you will. So now I'm going to keep in mind this needs to be too wide. I'm going to move this guy on grid offside like that. And then we have what we are going to need. Just for the sake of things, I'm going to move that one offside. So I at least know between here needs to be a new wall. So this is not blocking my view. Not too bad, not too bad. And down here, I'm going to need to have something in order to make a little bit of a supported structure. Yeah, that's just fantastic. A little bit of depth. Now here it doesn't completely fulfill my destiny, so I'm just going to see how this looks. I think this would make a little bit more sense to have it like that. Now for this though, once again I would like to create a little bit of detail. Now I did see that the plant was going through the stone just a little bit, so instead of raising this up, make a planter or whatever, I'm just going to lower this tiny touchy bit. And I have another idea of what I would like to do. Now I'm looking at the show. So first of all, I'm going to take this, well, yeah, it actually could be. I just want to look at different other blocks though. Now the only thing that I have not kept in mind is the height. So let's just put this guy back on its spot, and I'm going to place this on top. So yeah, I want to see, if I can use some different blocks, give it a little bit of different look. I don't want to have everything stony anyway. I think one more should do the job for the height. Yeah, definitely. The reason why this is low, because the block started here, so that's why it's one lower. It's very high up though. For the back it matters lesser. Front is gonna be mostly important. So I was thinking, if we can even do this though, we also have the smaller version of this. There it is. Okay, so yeah, we have two different versions of this. I'm not really sure what is the difference. So we have this one and just different looks from the top, it looks like. Nothing serious from the side. So my idea here was to actually sit back a little bit. Not too much, not too less. Because this block here is inclined and always sticks out, right? I can even do it a little bit more, I guess. Need to see where is the edge though. I think that is actually it. So this will create a little bit of an effect on this corner piece, and I think that's just very nice. Just a little extra. Yeah, that doesn't look very good though. Would be nicer to have a certain block which ends up with a straight one, perfectly for this kind of deals. Now up and down is actually not a problem. Could do something like this, right? The only thing that I will have to come up with is a way to get the sides look nice. Then I actually hope that this would be good into position and see how it looks like. You know, that looks darn good actually. I have no idea if it's in the middle or not, but well, okay, we can clearly see if it's in the middle or not. So far so good, looking good, I really like it. Now there is a reason why I have not done the outside wall just yet, and this is something we're going to do later on. Now of course, when you work on a incline level, the best thing to do is also include in your blueprint the height of the terrain, which is basically what I've been doing right down there with the wall. Because this is on the grid, I can do this afterwards. It will save me up some blocks. Like I could have done the whole outside wall, but it will be, you know, it costs more. So that's why I'm going to do that afterwards. Anyways, I have been increasing the length of this little platform so I could fit in the railing. I wanted to have something smaller, but the rods are not a good idea for this. And I also find it a shame that this game actually doesn't have anything in order to, you know, simply make it incline. You really have to mess around in the editor in order to make your own railing. So I'm just going to keep it simple. Now I do notice sometimes, very sometimes, yeah, right now I cannot move that way. It doesn't allow me. And I wonder why it does that though, because sometimes it just seems to work and other times, I think mostly if I touch the outside, yeah, now I cannot move. And I can jump and move. I wonder if it has something to do with the door. Yeah, that is what it is. So in this case, this is how it looks like underneath the roof. I'll make these beams. I really like to have beams into the sky, which we can also hang up some lights onto that. It is actually time to fill in the blank. I'm gonna add a couple of this and a couple of that. It's just a very simple build, but I just like to see something different with the way how I've used these kind of blocks instead of other types of blocks. And so it is mostly done because you can clearly see the back of the building. I still need to paint it. I did add it in the outside wall of it, but that is done. And it's fantastic. A lot of decoration need to be added on the outside, you know, as well as the vegetation, put it back. So it just blends in a little bit more into the environment. But indoors, ooh, it looks like this. Yeah, the same as in the editor, only with a plant. And of course, I have also added a stove, because at some point, just before I wanted to save it in the blueprint, I was like, you know, we're going to have a stove in here, create a little bit of heat so the plants won't catch a cold. Sorry. And yeah, some decorations here and there. This place is ready to go. I love it. I like it a lot. Now, it's only a shame that this game doesn't have any potion signs if you would. Of course, a medical sign could be a little bit of a thing. So, I'm just gonna grab one. For example, the shield, and just see